love, openness, willingness. The Awake Shop by Rev Skip. Inspiration you can wear. Hats, mugs, hoodies, and tees. Visit theawakeshop.org today. Faith, love, openness, willingness. You're in the flow with Rev Skip. Hey everyone, it's your boy Rev Skip, and welcome to In the Flow with Rev Skip right here on the New Thought Media Network, our CSL ministry, which I am such a part of, my family. And when you're in the flow, have faith that transformation can happen. Love yourself through each and every step. Be open and willing to have a new experience. When you get in the flow, you get into transformation. I want to welcome you into this. I'm going to call it a very special episode because I'm very excited about this. And I got to say that I had nothing to do with putting this together. It was my co-producer, Diego, that got this guest on. So I am so grateful. Diego, come in so I can thank you, brother. Hey.
Well, yeah, I'm real excited too. Let me just put it there. I say it every week how excited I am for this episode, but tonight, or just today,
yes,
just right before the show, what a stroll down memory lane we were going through.
It's so funny. You said tonight, but in New Zealand, hello, we have someone in New Zealand. It is morning time for New Zealand. I love it. Yes, we've been very excited about this because our guest is someone that we really admire and we love. Oh, hey, Janice, how are you? Good to see you. I'm glad. I love it when they drop little comments into this live feed that we can see. And if you're listening to this podcast for the very first time, we invite you to subscribe and to share and send out the love. And remembering you can hear this afterwards on Spotify, on iTunes, on everywhere you listen to your podcast, you can hear this again. So, hey, I just want to thank you for setting up this guest and all the work you do here in New Thought Media Network, brother.
Wait, thank you for your yes. This is going to be great.
It's going to be great, but I also want to bring light to Spirit Says Sing. What you got going on tomorrow?
Oh, Spirit Says Sing, you know, things have picked up so much here at New Thought Media Network. I have recently taken on the responsibility of taking over all of our Sunday services. So I'm streaming Sunday services for CSL's from coast to coast on Sundays. So I realized Saturdays I was spending all my time getting Spirit Says Sing going and getting everything ready and everything. That's time I need to be spending on getting things ready for the next day. So I've had to let go of Spirit Says Sing.
Oh, I didn't even know. See,
we may find some new hosts to come and take over.
Maybe.
Yeah, it could just be reforming right now. We've got some musicians that we're talking to in the background. So if anybody's
I love
interested
it.
in doing some Saturday broadcasting,
I
get in
love
touch
it.
with us here at New Thought Media. Just
Yes.
contact us info@ntmedia.org.
So I want to bring light to, you talked about the broadcast that we do on Sunday here at the New Thought Media Network, the CSL, Center for Spiritual Living. We're a global network organization all over the world at different places, and we get to stream some of the Sunday services. What Sunday services are streaming on Sunday? Because I want people to get their stream on, their spiritual on.
I start my mornings out with the service from Atlanta Midtown.
Hey now.
CSL Midtown in Atlanta there with Dr. Bob Dean. That starts
Yes.
at 9 o'clock my time, Mountain, so that's 11 o'clock their time.
Okay.
Then we go to, at 10 o'clock Mountain, we go to CSL Denver.
Love that.
So we do their service at CSL Denver. After that, I go to California to stream some reverends that do a service called True Thought.
Okay.
And then we also have a friend of ours, I'm trying to remember her last name, Cindy. Reverend Cindy is in CSL Ocala.
Wow.
She does a stream from Ocala.
So Sunday, you can get your spirituality on, no doubt.
If you're looking for some spiritual nourishment, New Thought Media Network is a place to come on a Sunday.
Come to the New Thought Media Network. Well, I'm so grateful.
Do what we used to call, when I was a religious love streamer, and I streamed at Agape every Sunday.
Yes.
We called it our church with jammy church.
The Jammy Church?
Because you can catch a
You can
service
put
while
in your
wearing your
jammies.
jammies. You know.
I hear you. On Sundays, I have a tendency to do a little church hopping on Facebook, because I have friends that are speaking all over Facebook. So I get a little bit of here, I get a little bit of Michael, unless I'm holding visual or I am actually on pulpit rotation. So I'll be at Agape, but then I have my friend Jackie Fernandez, Reverend Jackie Fernandez, which is our Unity Church in Overland Park. And then, we have Deborah Johnson, who's also been a guest. She does a service on Facebook as well. So I just
a little family. We're all supporting each other. I kind of got started doing this when I was in LA with you at Agape.
Yes.
I got to know several. I realized when my time at Agape, Agape evolved out of Centers for Spiritual Living, the writings of Ernest Holmes, Science of Mind. So I started checking out. I noticed then I started going to a lot of the different area CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living there in LA. After I would go to Agape and spend a Sunday doing their services, I'd go check out a couple other services. That kind of translated off onto online when I left LA.
Yeah.
And now I'm running services all across it. I have to go service hopping now.
Yeah, it's a powerful, powerful movement of New Thought. And I always say, I am like, okay, so some people might know about the Association for Global New Thought, which has, Agape, and it has CSL, Church, Center for Spiritual Living, and all Unity. And I do work for all three. So I am the face of the Association for Global New Thought. I have all three.
It makes me so proud. You're one of my favorite parts of me.
I love it. I love that. Well, thank you. I'm glad I could be in that part for you. So, hey, my brother, thank you so much, and God bless. And
all right, have a great show, Rev.
Appreciate you. Okay, and everyone, is now time for our. This is our Wellness Wake Up with Rev Skip. So our Wellness Wake Up for today, I'm going to put up this picture because this is one of my favorite photos that I use in my own advertisement. It's about being present at every workout. And what I mean by that is, when you are working out or when you are doing your fitness, are you present in what you're doing, or are you creating your grocery lists? Are you thinking about the argument you had before you got into the workout? Are you somewhere else out into space, or are you really connecting with what the body's feeling? Are you walking on the treadmill, speaking on your phone? Are you present for each and every workout? So in our Wellness Wake Up today is all about this week. Be present in the workout that you're doing. When you are present and you are activating the energy from your spirit to connect with your body, your workout becomes a spiritual practice. Today, we get to understand that everything's a spiritual practice, but our fitness is also part of our spiritual growth and development. So be present for every workout in the moment in the minute, breath by breath. Be present. All right, so let's go into our quotable ponder. So our quotable ponder is really inspired by our guest who's coming up very soon, and this is one of my favorite quotes from Eckhart Tolle. And some people call Eckhart Tolle. I was taught Eckhart Tolle. Some people say Eckhart Tolle. So whatever it is, everyone knows Eckhart. And this comes from The Power of Now. And this quote says this: "As far as inner transformation is concerned, there's nothing you can do about it. You cannot transform yourself. You certainly cannot transform your partner or anybody else. All you can do is to create a space for transformation to happen, for grace and love to enter." I love that. I love that quote because I'm always talking about transformation as a choice. But truly, what we're choosing to do is to create a space for transformation. I call it the willingness and being open, part of the flow. If I'm open for transformation to happen, if I'm willing to allow it to happen, there's really nothing for me to do but just create a space, a fertile space. And I love what Reverend Deborah Johnson talked about when she was here, that a seed is a seed. Our work is just to create the fertile ground. So today, when you're thinking about and you are pondering our quote, think about ways you can allow the transformation to happen. Yeah. So I am very, very excited about our guest that's coming up here. I'm going to give you a little bit about her bio. I'm going to pull her bio right here. It's Kat Dawes, everyone. And if you don't know Kat Dawes, you will after this. She is the founder of the transformational entertainment called NOWism. She is a performance philosopher. I'm going to talk to her about that. Author, a spirituality coach, known for a dynamic and entertaining teaching style. She is really entertaining. I have a story for you when we get down with the get down about how I first came in contact with Kat Dawes. She just inspired me. I love what she says here, taking the essence of the ancient mindfulness teaching. We always talk about ancient wisdom teaching and translating them into contemporary user-friendly practice. NOWism is a modern figure and points to ancient wisdom. And I always talk about this. I think sometimes we get so much woo-woo and spirituality is not, practical. It's not approachable. But her book, I want to say this, her book has been on the New York, I think it's been on the New York Times best sellers list, or should be, The Time and Space and Contract. I love that. So I'm going to bring her in and she's going to tell us a little bit more about herself. Kat, please come into our circle.
Welcome to the present moment, and thank you for having me, Reverend Skip and Diego. Wow.
And Diego, yeah. I'm so excited, and I realize when I get really excited, because I experience dyslexia, when I get really excited, reading becomes like, I'm energized and I want to get these words out and all this happened. But it invites me to come back to the now moment, be with one word at a time, be with what you're doing. Don't worry about the interview that's coming up. So in that moment of my excitement, I'm like, good. I just heard Spirit come back to the now. Thank you for your teaching, sis.
Blessings. It's really a great pleasure to reconnect with you guys. So, wow, what a treat.
I remember when I first, I guess, that was introduced to you, or it was 12 or 15 years ago. I don't even know, time is just going so quickly.
Right.
But I was at Agape on a Wednesday night, and you were in the back row, and I was sitting somewhere near you. And Michael goes out on a Wednesday night, used to at Buckingham. Michael Bernard Beckwith from the Agape International Spiritual Center. When we were on Buckingham, we'll go out in the audience and give the mic to someone, and they would talk a little bit. It was such an amazing part. And here comes this person from the back going, "Hey, Michael!" And he says, "Come up," and you ran up to the front. You had your braids, you're flying. And I said to my friend, Bill, that was sitting at the time, my partner at the time, I said, "Who's this hippie chick?" And your story was so dynamic. I was like, oh my God, from then to look where you are now, sis. Look what you're doing now.
I know, blessings. That was a really poignant moment in my reality, because I never, ever, ever expected to be, well, first of all, to ever really meet Michael. I just never really put it on the vision list, and then to be invited by him to come and check out Revelations that year was really something else. And I couldn't believe I was in that auditorium, because I used to watch that live stream from my van that I used to live in. So yeah, it was a thing.
Bill Robinson just dropped in the feed. I remember that. Yeah. So yeah, and one of the things we were talking about, that was a very dynamic, special time. It was a time where New Thought really became very. There was this explosion. In fact, my first book, Spirit Explosion, came from what I was experiencing. I wrote that when I first got to Agape, and it was like a spirit explosion. We were everywhere. Reverend Michael was on Oprah. There was The Secret. All this idea about we begin to take hold. There was Lisa Nichols, Iyanla Vanzant already on the scene, but everything became really big, it seemed like.
Yeah, it was like it came from, it's like it spilled over from the niche sort of genres of spirituality and religion and mindfulness, and then it spilled over into the mainstream. And I think that's the greatest gift that the Secret brought to like the whole ancient wisdom movement, is that it just made it a household situation.
Yeah, Robin says good times. It was good times, Robin. Thank you for dropping that in the feed. So and I love that you use ancient wisdom, because I believe that everything, and this is a part of my teaching, that everything that we are studying, from religion to spiritual growth to the movement, comes from that ancient wisdom of one thing: God is love. We are God. We're learning to love ourselves. We're learning to love everyone else. We're learning to love God with all our heart. It comes from love. What is that ancient wisdom? What is the biggest message from the ancient wisdom for you?
Yeah, I've definitely love, definitely unity. We're talking about frequencies that are not things. And for me, like one of my most poignant moments actually was when I came home from high school, and I was so excited, been hanging out at this little church. Now, I grew up in a non-religious family, but I used to love going into this little church and just hanging out in the stained glass windows. I had no idea what they taught, but I knew that this was a sacred space. I could feel it. I came home to tell my dad about it, and my dad was just like, religion. Oh my God, they got you. And I remember I was trying to share with him this really like a very poignant moment, an energetic moment that I had, but the language that I tried to use and everything just caused him to shut down. And I realized ancient wisdom actually needs new marketing, because for some reason he did not connect with what I was actually trying to say. I got a lecture about Darwin instead,
Right. It's so funny, because I remember Michael used to say from Buckingham on the pulpit, he would say, it's time to have a new thought, So what you're talking about is, how do we deliver this ancient, endless, eternal wisdom in a new way that speaks to everyone? And I believe this is one of the COVID bonuses that we experience, that we've gone global. This idea of going global, I was talking about the Association for Global New Thought. We are really global through the internet. So I want to ask you, how has this experience of COVID shifted you, and how you living through it, sis?
Yeah, thanks for asking. It's been really fascinating. I arrived here 1 week before, and then COVID kicked in, and it's been really difficult to travel. I certainly can't go home to Australia right now, and the rest of my family is in the region of Southern Africa, and so I've just been like, oh wow. And as you guys know, I've been quite nomadic my entire life, so COVID gave me this opportunity to just drop in and actually just start to build more NOWism goodness, and the desire and the need for this message just went through the roof. Like I've been in so much service in the last year or so, just because of the vibrational climate of the planet. It's been incredible.
Powerful. So what was the spiritual awakening for you that got you from your van to where you are now, to this nowism that we're going to talk about in a bit. But what was that spiritual seed, that spark within you? What was that like for you in your van?
Yeah, so long story short, I was living in a van, very hippie style, as an entertainer, fire spinner, balloon twister,
Yeah,
stilt walker, doing all these wonderful things at festivals, selling now clocks without batteries, just push in the now, stuff like this.
I love it.
And it was actually a very poignant time where, yeah, my life was changing. I just left a very long-term 10-year relationship, and the van broke down on the way to a festival. I had literally $6 to my name, no phone reception because I was in the middle of the desert. And it really was that story that I shared at Agape that day that really threw me forwards, because there was two options. When you feel as the shift hits the fan and you have to face your failures potentially, there's this opportunity to either react or respond. And so it was really in this moment I knew that the meaning that I assigned to this event was either I'm a great failure and I'm going to start spiraling for very good reasons, fact, all of the reasons, or I was going to allow this to be a really powerful initiation and just throw myself forwards. And I picked plan B, which is the plan that you're being. It's
Hallelujah.
not, and
I love that.
I literally threw myself into it probably looked a little bit psychotic, to be honest, because of the facts, but I just was declaring that this was the greatest thing to ever happen to me, and that somehow something was truly emerging from me, and I was just on an upward swell, and I just convinced myself. And as Reverend Michael has taught me so profoundly, when you believe it with the conviction, that energetic certainty, then the universe, God will believe it.
Yes. I love that. And you mentioned festivals, and I wasn't going to go there, but you mentioned it, and I realized something, because I love the spiritual experience of going to festivals. It is truly a gathering. So you yourself, who did, I've taught at yoga at festivals. I've gone to yoga festivals. I've gone to house music festivals. There's a really spiritual experience that happens in this gathering of people. And I realized yesterday I was kind of feeling a little down. I was like, so what's going on here? I was feeling a little depressed, and I did my gratitude work, and some things are happening in my life and shifting. But it was also the first day of a festival that I normally go to in Croatia.
Right.
And I couldn't go this year because of just COVID, and then the funds weren't there. But it's all over online going, yeah, it's happening. We're here. And I'm like going, I just want to be in Croatia. What is the transformational energy that you have felt with festivals and the fire and the gathering of people?
Yeah, I feel like the festivals invite people, individuals from all walks of life to actually drop the leading roles that we have every day, what you do, your partner, this, that, all of the responsibilities and all this thing. And it just really invites you to drop all of that and to be unhindered. A lot of people dress up, we wear costumes, we allow ourselves to express radically different ways. And it's actually very healing for a lot of people. Festivals are one of the most powerful unifying forces for communities across the world. And I look forward to what's going to happen now, because again, COVID benefit, realizing the importance of true human connection.
Yeah, you know what? You are the right guest to have on this day, because I was really feeling like, that FOMO, we talked about the fear of missing something. But then I realized too, once I got over it, that everything that I am in fear of missing is already within me. And one day there will be other festivals. In fact, I'm going to a little mini gathering in San Diego at the end of the month. And of course, I'm going to be masked up, and I might be the only person there with the mask on, but I'm okay. And not this, but anyway, I just want to bring note to what that is. So we kind of want to talk to you about your purpose. What do you think nowism, and I love nowism, what is the purpose that you feel that you're bringing with nowism? And please explain to us what nowism is.
Yeah, wonderful. So I'll start with what is my purpose. My purpose has literally been to be an instrumentality for the divine, for a unique translation of ancient wisdom. This is literally something that when I became available and stopped trying to plan and be clever and do all the things we do when ambition calls, I became a very powerful conduit for something that is very, very entertaining. I feel extremely blessed that I've had the clarity in that, because I was assigned this task relatively early on, and as I became more aligned, became more available to the possibilities in that, it's really just exploded into the most amazing thing. And so bringing it back to what is NOWism. NOWism is the art of conscious participation in the present moment. Now, as a brand, is a transformational entertainment experience of ancient wisdom, really.
Wow. So I am new to NOWism. I'm just starting to really study it, and I knew you before NOWism. So as someone who's approaching this, and I am a constant learner, I want to learn. What are the few principles I need to know when I'm practicing NOWism?
Okay, well, the first thing is that the currency in this game is your attention, your precious attention. And so, and when we choose to use our attention as a currency, we realize, number one, we pay attention to things. And then second of all, if you pay a lot of attention, it becomes an investment, which becomes a vibration. It's a feeling. It's an emotional quality. That little ingredients that we put together of thought, intention, plus emotion is the building blocks of creating reality. And so that the first principle is that your currency is your attention. The second one is that you want to start noticing that there's lots of time in the day. One of the things that I get a lot with my online Game of NOWism and this type of spiritual curriculum that I teach is that people often say, I just don't have time. And we have to plug our spiritual practice into the time that we've got. And so NOWism focuses on the in-between moments of your day. So when you get up from the computer and you're walking down the hallway to the kitchen to go look in the fridge, that's 10 seconds of airtime in your mind. Where are you hanging out? And so this is where conscious participation in the present moment, whether you're actually just observing and being walking down the hallway with a level of victory and grace, or if you are practicing frequencies such as freedom or trust or well-being. The principles of NOWism are very much, I try to keep it very simple. One of my favorite pieces is just do a little bit, a lot.
Yeah.
And then do it a lot,
And I love you're talking about the refrigerator, because sometimes I leave out of here, my office, aka the garage, and I'm heading to the refrigerator. I am walking, I'm already in the refrigerator, knowing what I'm going to pull out and what I'm going to get, so I can come back in to finish to do that. So I'm in the refrigerator, grabbing as I'm walking. I know what I got to get, and I'm heading back to my next client. That 10 seconds of walking from my office to the house, I can be more mindful. I can be more in the now moments.
So I'm going to give you something, Rev Skip.
Okay.
This is from the Game of NOWism, and this is one of the full-time exercises for people who really are serious, want to get into the trenches of consciousness. The game is called Ooze While You Cruise. And so when you are getting up from one activity, it's like a segue in theater. You're getting up from one activity and you're moving into the next activity. You want to play your NOWism. I'm going to ooze while I cruise, and I'm going to represent a vibration, volunteer my consciousness to representing the most expanded, broad, whatever vibe you've invested in for the day. And it allows you to clock up sort of airtime with these vibrations that often can seem to not get time in your life, and it's a very sneaky way of practicing some high consciousness.
Ooze when I cruise. I love that. I love that. I love a great tagline. I'm always looking for the next tagline. That is so awesome. Tell me a little bit about the time and the space contract.
Yeah, so I've always loved the idea, ever since I was a little girl, actually, that there is that we're really superheroes, actually. Because, you know, when you're little, you actually just don't doubt that. Like I'm actually a superhero. And you have this great vision for your life. And so I've always enjoyed this idea that this life is actually a quest, and that you've been assigned a great task here in time and space. And so this first book that I wrote is The Time and Space Contract, where it's literally a playful, humorous depiction of a contract between you and source, or all that is. And you basically have signed a time and space contract where it tells you, we're going to provide you with this, like a planet, a human body. You're going to be given all these things. And then there's fine print in this contract, right? You know, in contracts, you really got to check out the fine print.
Yeah, the fine print.
The fine print is that you're given free will, which means that you are loaded and coded with like the most exceptional divine capacities, made in the image and likeness. And you are so free that if you want to live out a story of lack and limitation and hesitation, then you are fine to do that. You're welcome. Go ahead and live that life. And so it really is this, it's like a playful call to action to remember who you really are, and to remember the divine laws and how to actually just use them. Yeah.
Well, I love what you're saying, because I've always believed that there is a choice.
Yes.
You know, and I know that I'm called to experience prosperity, plenitude, and abundance.
Yeah.
And that's the contract I've signed.
Right.
But how do we get to that contract? How do we get on the path of living out our contract? Because yes, I believe there's some people who have chosen and they've signed the contract of lack of limitation and a challenging life. But how do we get to, when we know that we're made for greatness, we know that we were made to do something else, how do we get on that path to our contract?
Well, I want to quote the wonderful Reverend Michael Beckwith. Actually, it's either pain pushes or vision pulls.
Hey now.
And so, you know, you either get sort of that slap from the universe, which, you know, I had one of those. I definitely still felt like inspiration and the possibilities before all of that, but it's like really the tipping point of chaos or suffering actually is the fires of initiation, because it's like, unless you are put into the circumstance where you have to grow wings, you might not really do it, because we're chilling like villains, you know, like we love to just like be in the pleasure zone, you know. It's like It's a human nature just to relax. So I feel like there's a great gift in the pain. However, as you know, like when we start to really drop in and actually be devoted to a spiritual practice, you can have enough foresight now to have vision to pull instead of waiting for it to hurt, so you grow. You know,
yes. I am very interested in the Game of NOWism, because I don't have that copy of the book, so I need to get that copy of the book. So I'm going to send you a signed copy of my latest book, if you'll send me a signed copy of. But I love the game. I just really never thought about the game. And when you got the divine download of it's the Game of NOWism, what was the game that came through you? What is the game?
It's so great. Like, this is really one of the most exceptional moments. I had been living in Africa and in Eswatini and Swaziland, and I was in deep practice, and I realized that there are so many moments in the day to stay conscious. There is so much airtime in our minds. And as our neuroscientists of today, like Joe Dispenza and people of this nature, who are sharing with us that we have like up to 70,000 thoughts a day. Like, what? That's a lot of thinking. What are you thinking about? You know, and knowing that every thought counts and that every moment matters is sort of like assisting to co-create reality. I realized I've got to find a very interesting, compelling, and entertaining way for me to try and stay present, because as you would probably have experienced on this path, we have very, very high intentions and even expectations of ourselves, but then it's all good when you're doing morning practice and you're meditating and you're waving your sage and you've got like your all of the glory, right? But then as soon as you hit that traffic, or you run into the family in the kitchen, or you see those dishes, or like suddenly now you've got content which actually comes at you from everywhere, and everything's designed to sort of disrupt you a little bit, right? So the Game of NOWism became a series of tools for my consciousness that actually are tailored to different scenarios, because not every tool works in every situation, right?
Yes.
Like for instance, we have a practice, it's called going to the thank bank. It's just gratitude practice, but we go to the thank bank and we deposit our gratitude, right? Now, on days when you are absolutely like bucking heads with a family member, or you're worried about like the bill that's come in or whatever, like we need different practices according to the content that we're getting smashed with. So the Game of NOWism sort of creates these different tools that assist you to playfully engage and to stay easy about all of it. So the tools are like things like, there's a switch for the moments of, I call it momentarism. Negative thinking isn't really dirty enough, right? Like negative thinking does not point to what that is, especially the habit of negative thinking. So we characterize them into momentaris. When your momentaris start to pop up and they're whispering those things in your ear, trying to talk you out of your greatness, then we have a tool. And actually, I'm so glad that I brought this one up, because it's inspired by something that I learned from Michael Beckwith and also David Hawkins, from the power versus force. That like, what if there was a negative emission offset switch? Like if our thinking is pollution, and we can have these habits of negativity, when the pollution kicks in, we want to switch it, right? You want to switch to something else. And so in David Hawkins talks about that one conscious thought can actually offset 10,000 to millions of unconscious negative thoughts and negative people, actually, right? So this ties into the award that I gave to Michael years ago, but this particular tool called NEOS is an acronym, which means negative emission offset switch, but neos means new in Greek. So we have this sort of opportunity to, when you feel that pollution kicking in, to switch. And so we build these tools. One of my favorites is the quack. Quack is a duck, and it's called water off a duck's back. It's like when you hear that thing that person says is sort of insulting, but you're like, quack, water off a duck's back.
Quack it, y'all. I love how you're flipping the script and you're changing the game literally. What I love about the word game and what you're talking about, we're having a new thought and new thought. Hello, it's time to have a new thought and new thought. And there are even words that has this weight that we carry, like, oh, it's time to practice. And we created this heaviness around the practice. Or even doing growth work, because we've heard this in Agape or New Thought of growth work, that word work. But when you present the game, it's like, I can play.
Yes, we call it plurk. We call it plurk. It's play work.
Play work. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love that. In this experience of the game, how has it changed your life recently?
Well, one thing is that I am the world of NOWism that I've built, of characters and stories and fables and all of this, like, sort of very fantastical world. As I have shared it with individuals around the world who've been interested in joining a game of spirituality, of consciousness, watching that language that came from the Great Spirit now being used, like watching my students learn, like, use the word momentarism in a sentence, is really, really quite impactful. But it refreshes my own vow to now, which is a responsibility to continue to do that great work. Because when you start to see the momentum of your work, but it's not really yours, right? And you start to see the benefit and the momentum and how it is helping people. Oh, now it's not even my, like, this life's work that I've been, toiling over and have this big romance with, it actually doesn't really belong to me. And so it's changed my life in that I feel a little bit of a refreshed call to the quest of helping this as you said, inviting individuals into the practice with a level of levity and joy for the purpose of a greater collective momentum.
Yeah. If your NOWism cat could speak to Cat in the van, what would the NOWism cat tell Cat in the van? Let me say the van cat. What would the NOWism cat? What would the NOWism cat tell the van cat?
Yeah. I would probably just smile and just say yes. Yes. I would just say yes.
Oh my goodness. I love how you just toss it back to me, because it is really a great segue for our next. I love you. I love you so much. I can't wait to continue on this partnership. I believe there's a partnership that's growing here with you. But we get to move into what we call the yes moment on this podcast. And the yes moment is an acronym that I created to remind me that when we're in the yes, we are you expressing spirit. And this is where I get to just sit back. But, like all my previous guests have said, I've always been in the yes moment since the beginning of this conversation. I believe you too. You've been in the yes moment, but I purposely stand back and allow you to do your thing. So everyone, this is our Kat Dawes, and this is her yes moment.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. When I think of the word yes, and I really tune into the energy behind the word, it reminds me of the binary situation. It's either zeros or ones, baby. It's either yes or glitch no. And the yesness to me is anchored in a very powerful superhero talent. It's a power, it's a gift, and this energy I call willingness. Your willingness has the power to save the world. It really does, because the only reason we ever truly have a spiritual tantrum, throw our toys, have a meltdown, and actually have those belligerent moments where I don't want an adult today. I don't want to. I'm going to be literally a momentarist because of these facts, fact. And the only reason why the momentum of that momentarism can take off is because there's this one superhero power that is just dormant in that moment, and that is, I call it, it's not a hashtag, it's flash tag, willingness. Willingness is the bit where you stand up and you say to the Great Spirit, you know what, I officially don't freaking know, but I'm willing. I actually don't know what I'm doing, but I'm willing. And I believe that when we can drag our consciousness, and I mean that, when you can drag your consciousness to this exceptional energy of willingness, something starts to breathe you, because it is the only component that the universal law requires from you to actually start the wheels and the cogs of the universe to start changing the story that you're in. And so for me, and I'm deeply in a re-celebration of the power of willingness, and my fine print on this too is that regardless of the facts, that when the shift hits the fan and you have things that feel factual, fact, like there is always a larger truth that is waiting for your precious currency of attention. And that the truth is that you really are exceptional, and that something does want to emerge from you. But this energy of willingness is the only thing that you need in order for a wonderful momentum to actually kick in. And so the game of NOWism, may you build your relationship to the energy of willingness, so that when you need it and it looks like it's nowhere to be found, that you have a few little tips and tricks to actually mind hack yourself back into the now.
If this mic wasn't so expensive, I would pick it up and just drop it, because that was a spiritual mic drop moment. Thank you so much for that powerful yes moment. What do you want for the rest of your life? What do you want? Not the rest of life. Let me learn let me just talk what I just learned. What do you want for your nowism life now? What do you want? What do you want to happen within you?
Yeah, I want to, and this is a very, it's a personal, like I said, a bit of a refresh of the vow to now, to reignite the fires of audacity that I had back in the day, where I would gallop from the back of Agape to the front of the stage when I had nothing. I like luckily had shoes on, right? Like the audacity and the absolute unapologetic faith that something exceptional wants to happen, because I feel like there is, you know, as you march down the timeline, right, we collect dust and circumstances and situations and things, and there really is, and I love that I get to be 42 years old. Like I get to continue to deepen my human experience, but the requirement of refreshing the original flame is a real thing. And so that is where I'm at today. Yeah, to find that superhero power and let it fly.
It's funny you keep mentioning superheroes. I'm a huge superhero. Like that's, I grew up reading the comic books. I watched the movies. I live for the superhero, which always speaks to the superhero within me. That's why I'm so connected. In fact, throughout the pandemic, I just stayed in the superhero movies because I wanted to tap into the superhero within myself. And I love that you really connect with superheroes. I love you even more. I didn't know that was going to be even possible after this conversation, but I love you even more, honey. Love you even more. What I love, and too, and we're going to close up in a moment, y'all, but because I don't want to let her go. But I also love something I'm doing right now. You spoke to something I'm doing. I'm actually going through a garage and a storage unit that I've had stuff for years. Right. And I had my whole entire house packed into a storage unit throughout the pandemic for over a year and a half now. Even longer than that, it's been in storage. And so I now get to go back and say, do I really need, this other pair of black shoes? Do I really need 5 pairs of black shoes? Do I really need 3 white shirts? And they all really look alike right now, but I had them for some reason. And in that process of letting go, freeing ourselves up and being lighter again, being light, that's what I want.
And allowing that law of circulation too, because I'm sure that somebody would absolutely adore those extra shoes.
Yeah. I write down underneath here in LA, we have the largest homeless, I'm going to say the unhoused issue is largest in LA. So myself and my roommate, we pack up our bags and I just take it right down to the encampment and I hang out. And yesterday, it was a couple of days ago, I brought a bunch of stuff to the encampment and I just said, here you go, some new clothes. And everyone was like, oh my God, really? And the girls were coming in and dive into the bed. And trust, somebody's wearing Gucci today.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful.
But it was just the part of circulation, which I love. I love. And I love you. Thank you so much for being such a light.
So fun, really. Just
and being a part of this podcast. And you're just magic. And everyone, we want to invite you, please subscribe and share the love of Kat Dawes and make sure that the rest of the world understand that we have a message and we are bringing this internal transformation within yourself. That's our mission here at the New Thought Media Network. And remembering, if you want to connect with us, you can go to ntmedia.org. You can donate, you can connect. If you have a show in your mind that you want to possibly get online, this is the place you start. You can do all this by just clicking on the description in the show. And remember, you can take me home, y'all. You can take me home and not cook me breakfast. Go to my website, sign up for my newsletter. We have a new monthly newsletter that will be out by next week. And we're doing a monthly newsletter right now. And we're going to give you more information, give you some mind, body, spirit stuff in our newsletter. And you can find out about my book called the Little Book for Big Transformation. It's the second edition of the book, and find out more about the guided meditations on Insight Timer. I have another podcast I do with on Voices of Unity, which is Unity Online Radio, with Jackie Fernandez and Faith Rivera. Find out more information. Just go to my website, skipjennings.com. I think that's it. Oh, No, it's not. Please go over to theawakeshop.org. It's inspiration
Yeah.
you can wear. Rev Skip, and every t-shirt you buy is going to help another organization that's making a difference. Now I think we're done, Diego, with all the announcements. Hey, Diego, I'm going to ask you to come back in on camera one more time. Come in, Diego, please. He has to get on camera ready now. Come on in. There you go. Get on camera, yo. Get on camera. Because, brother, you made this interview happen. When you said, I think we can get Kat, I was like, really? She's busy. She's got a big movement. He's like, no, we can do it. I was like, okay, let's go
I
for
was
it.
so blessed that this past 4th of July, I got a visit from Kat Dawes. She came over
true
and
story.
saw us, and when she was there, I was like, oh, this would be the perfect time to talk to her about being
And you did,
Revs.
and she said
I was
yes
trying
right
to think
away.
of who's going to be the best show for her to be on New Thought Media now. She knows Rev Skip already.
Thank
They're going
you.
to have a
Thank
good
you.
chemistry together.
So
Thank you for
fun.
making it happen.
I knew
Thank
that
you for
she
making
would
it
be
happen.
just in the flow.
Yeah.
It's true story.
True
True
story. So,
Thank
again,
you so
thank
much
you.
for being here, Kat. This was such a great blessing.
It's such
So
a great
much
blessing,
fun to see
and
you again.
I love that the NOWism poster is in your background. It means the world
There
to me.
you
We've got
go.
such history, it's
He-
like it's so great.
He's a true believer, and
I'm all about NOWism. I've got lots of long stories about. But
so then that means that this is the invitation for Kat and you to come back again down the
Absolutely.
road. I'm going to jump into some NOWism myself. This is like the get down, but the get down. Get your
Here, let me
NOWism
bring up,
on.
her
Yeah,
next
one more time.
class.
Let's bring up
Let's bring up her next
the
class
next
of
class is coming.
NOWism. This starts.
Has it started already?
We have started. People are still joining. You can still join, and you can watch the replays and catch up. We've done 4 classes so far, and everyone's just met their inner now ninja, which is really it's an exciting
Don't
time.
you love some of
I love
the
it.
terms
It's
she coined?
pretty amazing.
The
so
now
cool.
ninjas.
The NOWism.
Swah!
So everyone, head over to katdawes.com so you can find out more information how you can join
Yes.
the Game of NOWism. Again,
So
once
fun.
again, we just want to thank you for just giving from your heart and being such an inspiration. And we just love you. And everyone, just remember, transformation is a choice, and
Yes.
you can choose today. God bless everyone. We'll see you soon.
Loves.
Thanks for joining us on today's episode of In the Flow. If you enjoyed this programming, please help us spread this joy. Be sure and give this video a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. New Thought Media Network can be found on Facebook or our YouTube channel. Additional contributions are greatly appreciated at ntmedia.org/donate or find Rev Skip on PayPal and Venmo. Tune in on Fridays, 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 Mountain, when Rev Skip welcomes a new guest. Until then, faith, love, openness, and willingness keeps us in the flow. New Thought Media Network is on the rise. We're looking to grow with you. Do you have technical media experience or perhaps a desire to learn? Are you willing to volunteer your precious time and attention? We share this message to benefit all. If you possess a computer with a camera and a microphone, we will share our knowledge with you. Behind the scenes or being the star, Let us bless our one. Contact us at info@ntmedia.org.